Hi, I'm Andy Marso, and I survived a vaccine-preventable disease.
Hello, I'm Ginny-Minnesota. I'm Andy's mom, and I'm also a grandparent of 7, ranging in age from 3 to 19. I'm from that generation which saw the development of the polio vaccine. I was one of the people that stood in line to have that vaccine given to me when I was an elementary school student. I had seen friends, classmates who had developed the disease and had had serious complications. But my husband and I didn't know about a disease called bacterial meningitis, even though we had made sure our kids were vaccinated for every other vaccine as recommended by our physicians.
I didn't know much about meningitis either when I went off to college, but one night I started to feel sick, like I had the flu. By the next morning, I was so sick I couldn't get out of bed. My arms and legs were painfully tingling and were covered in little purple spots. If a friend of mine hadn't come to check on me that day, I would have died probably within hours. But he was able to get me to the student health center, and from there they put me on an ambulance to the local hospital. That's where they did a spinal tap and gave me a preliminary diagnosis of bacterial meningitis. While I was at that hospital, I started to have trouble breathing, so they called a helicopter and airlifted me to the nearest level 1 trauma center. By the time we got there, I blacked out.
My husband and I, who lived 600 miles away, received a call from a doctor at the health service telling us we needed to immediately get ourselves to the hospital in Kansas City because Andy was critically ill. When we got there, he was barely conscious. His arms and legs were elevated, they were swollen, they were purple. A short time after he arrived, after we arrived, he was placed in a medically induced coma and put on a ventilator. The critical care doctor there told us that there was a 50-50 chance that he would not survive the night, and that if he did survive, he would most certainly sustain amputations.
When I woke up from the coma 3 weeks later, I couldn't move my hands and feet. When the hospital staff took off my bandages, my arms and legs were black, like a terrible burn. And the doctor told me that I, in fact, had tissue damage that was equal to third-degree burns over 30% of my body because the meningococcal infection had cut off the circulation to my extremities. I spent the next 3 months in the hospital's burn unit undergoing really painful treatments to try and save my limbs. And in the end, I still had to have all of my toes and all but one of my fingers amputated. It took me over a year of rehabilitation to get back to where I could live independently without anybody helping. And during that year, the CDC started recommending a new vaccine for meningitis. Since that recommendation in 2005, rates of meningococcal disease have fallen significantly. It's only in the last couple of years that they have started to tick back up, which is concerning. And even more concerning is that now, just this year, 2026, the CDC ended the universal recommendation for that meningitis vaccine and did so without following the proper procedures. I'm now a father myself, and given what I know personally about meningitis, it's clear to me that every child should receive this shot unless they have a medical condition that precludes them from getting it. Meningitis is just too dangerous and fast-moving to overlook. About 15% of people who get it will die, and another 20% end up with permanent damage, like me.
So, in closing, I would like to say that my advocacy for this stems from my desire that every other parent be spared watching their child go through what my husband and I saw our child go through. Please let everyone know how important it is that their adolescents receive this vaccine, and consult with your physician about administration of that vaccine. Thank you.